Hey, this is Ed, one half of Sheffield noise rock two-piece Perfect Parachute Picture. We recently sat down with Rock Lifestyle to do a virtual Q&A to talk about our brand new single Working Machine and also all things PPP. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Hey, we're Kyle and Ed. We are Perfect Parachute Picture, a noise rock duo from Sheffield formed towards the back end of 2012. We had our first gigs in Sheffield at the start of 2013, so we've been going quite a good while now. In terms of the story of the name, it's sort of really just random alliteration that we sort of came up with one day. There's not really much else to it really, is there, other than we've tried to do some kind of elaborate story as to why we came up with Perfect Parachute Picture, but there is no story, unfortunately.
It's just we thought a good name that makes people go, oh, who's that, you know?
Yeah. So the next question is around our influences of the noise rock genre. So we do sort of classify ourselves, initially it was a noise rock sort of be all and end all thing, wasn't it? But it is more like alt rock, noise rock, punk kind of stuff now that we do. But in terms of the initial influences for us in the noise rock genre, there's obviously two bands from sort of the early to mid noughties that we really liked. So Death from Above 1979 and Lightning Bolt. So they are basically two bass and drum bands with a singing drummer like Kyle. But with Lightning Bolt, they are full blown noise rock. I mean, you can't really hear their vocals, can you? He sings through like a telephone microphone stitched into his balaclava, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think what attracted us to that was just like we saw the two pieces doing sort of music that we liked, and we thought, oh, well, we could do this, you know. But then over the years, obviously, his music has, I don't know if matured's the right word, but it's
Advanced,
grown,
hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then like we're now writing stuff that I suppose is taking years to develop in terms of like the sounds and the nature and the sort of melody and everything like that.
But it's still got that sort of deep-rooted bass and drum distorted aspect, hasn't it? Like sort of Death from Above, their early stuff is really heavy, just distorted bass, not many pedals, just full high gain through the amps and just really going for it. And that's sort of how we sort of still treat our live set, to be honest. We're really powerful live, I guess, and we are always wanting to do something a little bit different. We kind of throw our gear into the middle of the crowd towards the end of the set. We really enjoy that aspect, don't we? Like, you take your full kit in, don't you?
I think that's kind of what makes us stand out when it comes to like the live performances and stuff, because I think a lot of people, and we've had the comment, is like a lot of people go, how can two people make so much noise? But also, it's not just turn up, turn the amps on and just put it full whack. It's thought about, the whole thing is thought about. And we spend ages in the practice room writing and working on music, but also working on the set and how we piece a set list together. And we're also always thinking about sort of the new elements that we can add just to make it even bigger.
Yeah, that's sort of what you were saying about like building on, like maturing and stuff like that, wasn't it? So, like you say, it isn't just turning up the highest volume you can go and just playing some really gritty, rocky music, which is amazing, don't get me wrong, but what we have advanced on is our sort of backline sound, really honing in on that sound through sort of the gear that we use. Every piece of equipment that we use as a band is thought about and there for a reason. So our next single is out on Friday the 28th of August, and it's called Working Machine. So the story behind the single is we feel kind of like it's coming out at the right time in terms of what's going on at the moment with the whole pandemic situation and everyone not being able to sort of do what they want to do and being locked away kind of thing. So it kind of is about sort of freeing yourself from those shackles of being locked away, sort of doing something that you don't want to do in life, be that in a job or any kind of thing that's getting you down, and really striving and working hard to push into something that you really want to do in the end. So I guess the artwork that Kyle designed, it's kind of following that, isn't it? Like
it's like an expression of the single itself, and the colours just felt right. I mean, it's been used across all of the release. You'll see the same sort of colour pattern in the video for the single, and it just felt right that this was the sort of colour that you've got, like your beige, sort of just bland, and that's sort of representing life, I guess, in a way. But then you've got these like bits of these elements of colour, and it's sort of like the newfound confidence to get out and do something and not be held back.
I guess the single is basically sort of it's positive in a way, in terms of showing that you're able to sort of work for something, push for something, and strive forward in terms of really getting to where you want to be. So in terms of warming up before a show and then warming down after a show, we don't really have any sort of rituals, do we?
No.
We just sort of chill out and relax, and then just leave it to the show and just let it all go in on the stage, and it seems to work for us, doesn't it?
I think if I were going to say anything about warming up, it's just getting into that sort of headspace, you know. You get into a certain mind frame, and then you go on stage, and then you're in the performance, and then I think that's what it is, isn't it?
So going back to our first ever live performance, that was what we were saying earlier about the sort of the starting months in 2013, was it? We played our very first gig at West Street Live in Sheffield, which is a really famous sort of local music venue. So many amazing bands have gone through that venue from up and down the country, and it's all sort of been really pushed by Matt Hume, hasn't it? So Matt Hume is the promoter down at West Street Live, amongst other things, and he's just really amazing at pushing bands and getting bands into the venue, and then from that they can use that as a sort of stepping stone into moving on to different gigs around the country, can't they? So that's what Sheffield's really good at, is sort of promoting bands that you've never heard of and giving them that platform, isn't it?
It's so supportive as well. You know, the scene in Sheffield is so supportive, and it's one of those where you'll have people that come and see you, and if they like your music or they just like you as a person, you know, they'll stick with you, and that's how you build a fan base in Sheffield anyway. You know, that's how we've done it, and I think it's so good for other bands. There's that a great platform there, but we've just built it up over these years, and like Ed says, like been playing since 2013, like his first show there. So
and it's like going on to the next question about performing at UK festivals. From the basis that we created around playing those local shows in Sheffield, we sort of had our biggest show ever last year, didn't we, as a band, and that was at sort of the local main festival, which is Tramlines Festival in Sheffield. That's sort of grown from a smaller free inner city festival, and it's still inner city now, but it's a lot of fringe events around the city, and then a big 30,000 capacity festival away from the city in Hillsborough.
And we were quite lucky that we were given sort of the opportunity to play on the main festival. Yeah,
we played the Leadmill live stage after Reginald D. Hunter, the comedian, which was a bit surreal. But just the vibe that we got off the crowd and the atmosphere and how many people we played to, it was sort of a dream come true for us. So this next question is for you, Kyle. How challenging is it to both mentally and physically play the drums and sing lead vocals at the same time?
I suppose it's something that I've often discussed, but it's something that you, or rather I, don't think about. I just do it, and I guess the easiest way to put it is just practice. You know, years and years of practice has meant that I've been able to do it, but also going back to what I said before, it's sort of about getting yourself in like a good headspace, and you don't really concentrate on one or the other. You just do it and it flows.
Yeah, it's like playing any musical instrument really. When you're playing a full set, you don't think about every single song that you play in great depth. You play them mainly through muscle memory and having spent hours and hours practicing it and like honing in that skill, and sort of that's why like Kyle's able to do what he does in terms of sing and play drums at the same time, because it's all down to practice. You can do pretty much most things as a musician if you practice. So yeah. And so going on to our next question about favourite cities to perform in. Obviously Sheffield, being from Sheffield, we're going to say Sheffield is our favourite city to perform at. But we have created quite a good bond with the fans in the North East, so the Newcastle, Middlesbrough, Sunderland area. They're just really into rock music up there, aren't they? And we always get a really great vibe when we play there. But also we've played all over the country, from right up there down in Southampton, and great shows in Camden and around London. So yeah, we have a lot of favourites for different reasons, I guess.
We just try to enjoy every show that we play.
Yeah. So our most embarrassing moment as a band was probably 7 years ago. We got invited to play a festival in Chesterfield. So we went along to this festival, heard some bands playing, but also when we turned up, it was like a reenactment festival from like medieval war period time, like in Role Models, where they do lead. So we ended up going on stage, obviously, as great performers. And then by the second song, they pulled the plug, and we had a load of wooden sword wielding angry men
And women.
Yeah, chasing us off the field.
Yeah, with big wooden swords.
And that's not a euphemism. Hope you enjoyed our Q&A with Rock Lifestyle. Be sure to check out our brand new single Working Machine out Friday the 28th of August on all worldwide streaming platforms and YouTube.